What is going on, movie fans? Jacob Bartley here for Apocalypse Movies, and this is a little something new that we're doing here. These are called rewatch reviews, where we review films that we've already seen, but we want to come back to and watch them again and see what a second or third or fourth viewing might bring to us if we see something new or if we like the film even more than we saw it the first time. And for this case, I will say that is true for Godzilla 2014, the Gareth Edwards directed film, the director who directed Rogue One, if you didn't know that. This Godzilla film, it kind of got a lot of mixed thoughts from my experience. I hear a lot of people say either they loved it or they hated it. They say they hated it because they keep cutting away when the monsters are about to fight, or they love it because of the big monster fight at the end of the movie. And those were kind of some minor spoilers, but before I get more into depth on this, I will say that this review is going to contain some spoilers because the movie's been out for 3 years. So if you haven't seen it, by now, then you probably don't want to see it. But if you do want to see it, go watch it and then come back and watch this review. So what got me wanting to rewatch this is I really enjoyed Kong Skull Island from earlier this year, and as most of you know, Kong and Godzilla are going to be fighting in Kong vs. Godzilla, or whatever the official title is going to be in 2020. But first we're getting Godzilla 2 in 2019, so I've just been really hyped and excited about this monsters universe that Warner Bros. And the other studios are doing. So that's what got me to rewatch this film. And I remember I loved the end battle. The last 30 minutes of this movie are amazing, but I wanted to go rewatch it and see, are those complaints about not enough Godzilla and them cutting away from the fights legitimate? And I will say that they are, but it's not as bad as I thought when I first originally saw the film. I think I've only watched it once since I saw it in theaters, and that was probably the same year that it came out. So this movie wasn't fresh in my mind at all. But I will say, while Godzilla doesn't have a ton of screen time, he has enough, more than I thought he did. But the other monsters, the Mutos, the massive unidentified terrestrial organisms, I forgot what they called them, but the Mutos is what they named the species. Those like electricity, they look like mechanical monsters almost in a way. And I actually thought those monsters were pretty cool, the design of them and how one of them can fly and one of them is on the ground. So if you look at this movie as a horror monster film with not only Godzilla being the terrifying being, but these Mutos creatures being the terrifying beings, then I think it's actually a better film if you look at it that way, because it does have horror elements. The score is very horror-ish, and you know, they do cut away, and I will say there's nothing I can do to defend all the cuts from this film. Like when Godzilla's about to fight one of these monsters and it keeps cutting, I would have liked a fight in the middle or somewhere in the beginning, but you get to see these monsters tearing it up and destroying the city, so that was enough for me to be satisfied to get my monster fill until the very end, because that entire fight is amazing. Like, I got so excited. My favorite end battle in a movie of all time is in the first Avengers, and I was telling my buddy, like, I almost equate this Godzilla fight to the end battle in first Avengers. That's how much I love this fight. As I was rewatching it, I was like getting so excited and like losing my mind over it. Like, if you've seen the film, I told you this is gonna have spoilers. He kills the first one, the flying one, and Godzilla's getting beat up in this movie. He's getting his ass whooped by both of these monsters, and he finally, prevails. And the other one's away. The female one is off trying to defend her babies or something, and then the flying one is flying towards Godzilla, and Godzilla just waits for him and then swings his tail around and smacks him against the building and kills him. And I think that is so awesome. Like, that is amazing. And then how do you top that? You have him grab a monster's mouth and like blow his atomic ray into his mouth and rip his head off. I thought that was incredible. Like, that is some of the best end action I've ever seen in a movie, especially for these huge monsters fighting. Like, it was incredible. Like, I couldn't be more excited. So I'm super excited for Godzilla 2, whatever the title is. They were calling it King of Monsters, but I think they kind of flipped that, and I'm not sure what they're calling it now, but we're getting Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah in that film. Like, holy crap, that is going to be amazing. And then the following year we get Kong versus Godzilla, which one of my favorite parts of Kong Skull Island was the actual Kong that they created. I didn't really care about the human characters, so I'm excited to see Kong and that Godzilla fight, because that Kong is freaking massive. Speaking of human characters, in this Godzilla film, I do not care about the human characters at all. Like, I love Bryan Cranston, and I was excited for him to be in this movie, but as you all know, he's not in it for that long. And then Aaron Taylor Johnson's character and Elizabeth Olsen's character, they're just there to serve as the human placeholders for, you know, the action. It's like any movie where you don't care about the humans, like a Transformers film or something like that. Like, nobody really cares about the humans. They just want to get to the monsters or the Transformers or whatever it is. And while I didn't care about the humans at all, like the first time I saw it, I felt like, oh man, they're focusing too much on the humans. But this second rewatching, I was like, oh, if you just like tune out the humans and don't pay attention and don't care at all and just really focus on the horror elements and the big monsters, and then look at this as a destruction horror monster movie, then it's really, really entertaining, and it's a lot better than I initially thought. Like, as time goes on, I'm growing more and more fond of this movie, and it's becoming like, you know, one of my favorite monster movies ever made. Like, and I really like it that much because I love the design of Godzilla. I like Ken Watanabe's character, and he's coming back for the sequel, and he's probably going to be in Kong Skull Island. See, I never wanted to see Aaron Taylor Johnson or Elizabeth Olsen back, but I would love to see Ken Watanabe and his partners back for that organization that they work for, and they are confirmed to be in Godzilla 2. So those are some of the great things about this movie, is like the overall universe building, Godzilla himself, the action, and Ken Watanabe and that organization. I think this is a very, very solid film, and if you watch this, Kong Skull Island, and then go into these next two movies in 2019 and 2020, I think it's going to be one hell of a universe. I'm just as excited about this as I am for a Marvel film or a DC film. I cannot wait for these movies. Alright, well, that's going to do it for my rewatch review of Godzilla 2014. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this film, and if you've revisited it recently, and what you think. Thanks again, as always, for watching. This is Apocalypse Movies. Subscribe, hit that like button. Thanks again.